By now, every South African is aware that we are celebrating 20 years of democracy and freedom this year. Millions of South Africans are participating in one way or another to celebrate our achievements as a nation. And from the side of the tourism industry, our message is a resounding one. What an exhilarating 20 years it has been. By 1994, 20 years ago, total international arrivals, including tourist arrivals, stood at a mere 3.6 million. During our 2 decades of democracy, these arrivals have grown by more than 300% to reach nearly 15 million last year, 9.6 million of which were tourist arrivals. The story of 20 years of tourism since 1994 is a remarkable one, indeed. Now, let us just imagine for a moment what the 20 years before 94 looked like. And just imagine the effect that the passport system, an internal passport control system of sorts, had on the freedom of movement. And on top of that, we had a Separate Amenities Act, which regulated the use of public as well as private amenities by the color of your skin and limited access to most tourism facilities to one racial group only. And just imagine, apart from all the other inhibiting factors, how difficult it was for a tourism industry to operate in those circumstances. 20 years ago, we had no purpose-built international convention center, no Moses Mabhida Stadium, no Freedom Park, no Tourism Business Council of South Africa, which gives voice to an industry previously fragmented, no national tourism sector strategy, which unites government and industry around common goals, no South Africa National Conventions Bureau, nor a Meetings Africa, which positions us as a premier tourism destination, a business tourism destination. No robust grading criteria that underwrite the quality of our offerings, of which the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa is today the custodian. No Lelizela Tourism Awards for excellence, and no facilitated skills development and training for thousands of young people to become chefs and sommeliers and tourism safety monitors, to name but a few. Internationally, our country was marketed by the South African Tourism Corporation. Many of you will remember that, known as SATUA. And SATUA was the offspring of the publicity arm of South African Railways and Harbours in 1947, which then developed into a government agency, ran and effectively staffed by civil servants. Since 1994, South African tourism has been transformed from a country promotion and publicity organization into a dynamic global destination marketing organization that, ladies and gentlemen, is the envy of many around the world. The South African Tourism Board consists of respected leaders from our private sector who work in partnership with government to ensure coordinated and effective implementation of our plans and strategies, and very importantly, underpinned by cutting-edge strategic research. From a budget of 81 million in 1994, national government today invests in excess of 1.6 billion rand in tourism every year, and the provinces and the municipalities, millions more. Prior to 1994, tourism was a line function with just a director and one administrative clerk at a desk in the Department of Trade and Industry. Today, we have a constitution with concurrent powers for tourism development and promotion across all the provinces, a fully fledged ministry and Department of Tourism that provides policy direction, a 2014 Tourism Act that elevates our legislative mandate to a level appropriate for the demands of the 21st century, and also the recognition of tourism as one of 6 core economic drivers in our country's new growth path. The tourism sector was also the first in this country, the first to have its own Black Economic Empowerment Charter and a scorecard formally gazetted. And South Africa was also one of the first countries to entrench the concept of responsible tourism in its policy framework. As a destination, we have evolved from offering exclusive safari holidays to the international traveling elite to one of the most sought-after global destinations, offering a diverse variety of unforgettable experiences, including leisure, business, and events to domestic, regional, but also long-haul markets. Bringing all of this together is our people. In the words of late President Mandela, when he opened this INDABA in 1985, our natural beauty only offers a fitting setting for our country's most valuable asset, its people. Ours is a nation of warm and generous people. Its great variety of culture and heritage, once exploited to divide our people, has been turned by them into a source of strength and richness in every sphere of life. It is true. As a country emerging from an era of isolation, South Africa joined the United Nations World Tourism Organization in 1994. We played a catalytic role in establishing the T20 Ministers Platform for tourism leaders from the G20 countries in Sandton, Johannesburg. That was in 2010. And since 2012, we formally participate in the structures of the OECD's Tourism Committee. And we are a key partner in the initiative to form a chapter of tourism ministers in the African Union. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we can proudly look back on having hosted some of the biggest tourism mega events in the world, all of which have contributed to redefining our country's image, building social cohesion, but also creating new economic opportunities. 3 years after the FIFA Soccer World Cup, we are still growing from strength to strength, year after year. The 9.6 million international tourist arrivals to our country recorded last year were the highest in our history. And according to the latest tourism satellite account data, in 2012, our sector directly accounted for 93 billion rand, or 3% of GDP, up from an estimated 9 billion rand, or just 1.7% of GDP in 1994. And when we add domestic tourism expenditure to that mix, internal tourism expenditure amounted to 191 billion rand in 2012. And where direct jobs in our sector stood at an estimated 230,000, just 1.9% of the total in 1994, tourism today accounts for over 610,000, or 4.6% of direct employment in our country. Now, this good news story is also reflected in the financial reporting of our industry partners, the private sector. The accommodation subsector, for example, continues to experience very solid recovery, working back that oversupply of hotel rooms following the World Cup, and some of you complained about that. Last year, Sun International reported a comparative increase of 11% in accommodation revenue over the 2012 financial year on the back of much healthier occupancy and achieved daily rates compared to previous years. Similarly, City Lodge last year reported an increase of 11% in revenue and 31% in headline earnings, while Tsogo Sun reported that their adjusted headline earnings per share increased by a very pleasing 24% on the back of, inter alia, a 10% increase in average room rates. And then, we are all aware that, as of last month, the very well-known international hotel group Marriott International has acquired the 116 hotels in the Protea portfolio. This 2 billion rand foreign investment in over 10,000 hotel rooms spread across 79 hotels in South Africa and 37 hotels on the rest of the continent, represents a massive vote of confidence in what we have all achieved together in this tourism sector. Now, taken together, these are very impressive numbers indeed. Looking to the next 20 years of tourism, it is hard to envisage how technology will evolve, or how consumer preferences will change, or how the center of gravity of our source markets may still shift. We all know what is happening there. Many challenges remain, and not least those of transformation and accelerated job creation. It is safe to say that we are entering the next 20 years of our democracy and freedom, confident that the tourism economy's fundamentals are now in place, knowing that we are hedged against shifting markets through a balanced portfolio of domestic, regional, and overseas long-haul arrivals from both the mature but also the emerging markets and economies, and a diversified, authentic supply side that continue to differentiate us in the global marketplace. And we are embracing the opportunities brought about by the mobile and social media revolution to customize value for money offerings to the consumers out there. And as we meet here, as Africans, my colleagues are here, we recognize that we have to resolve outstanding challenges in travel facilitation. I am convinced that 20 years from now, history books telling the story of tourism on our continent will describe how a modernized and truly pan-African INDABA has been one of those pivots that helped us to take tourism to the next level on our continent. This year, we have 24 African countries exhibiting at INDABA. And I must say, ladies and gentlemen, I am very honored to be joined by so many of my ministerial colleagues from all corners of the continent, with whom we also met yesterday in the first ever INDABA Ministerial Roundtable on common travel facilitation and connectivity challenges. I welcome you, my colleagues, and I acknowledge your presence here, and maybe it's a good idea if I introduce you to the audience, and if I call your name, I would appreciate that if you just stand up. Some of the colleagues may have returned to their countries late afternoon after our meetings, maybe just one or two. First, I would like to recognize our AU Commissioner, the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy. The Deputy Minister, the Minister from Angola, he's just arrived, late afternoon. Welcome. The Minister from Benin. The Minister from Burundi. The Minister from Congo Brazzaville. She also late afternoon. The Minister from Gabon. The Minister who was here, I think he's maybe one of those that returned this afternoon. The Minister from Ghana also returned this afternoon. The Minister from Lesotho, I saw her entering earlier. There she is, Minister from Durban. The Minister from Madagascar. The Minister from Namibia. Then the Minister from Senegal. The Minister from Seychelles. The Minister from Swaziland. The Minister from Uganda. We've been together for almost 10 years now. The Minister from Zambia. The Minister from Zimbabwe, our next door neighbor. And then, of course, she's been recognized by our own Deputy Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, 10 years ago, I stood here to deliver my first INDABA opening address. And I would like to thank each and every one of you, each and every one of our partners, from every sphere of government to the private sector, for working with me, but also the rest of national government, to achieve success. Thank you. This sector can only excel if we all value and understand the nature of the relationship between government and the private sector, and that includes big business as well as small, medium and micro-sized enterprises. And to all of you, from all spheres of government, local, provincial, the agencies, and our private sector partners, really thank you so much. But now, let us embark on the next 20 years of our journey together. Thank you very much.